I'd like to talk about who we're running against. A billionaire who calls women fat broads and horse-faced lesbians. And no, I'm not talking about Donald Trump. I'm talking about Mayor Bloomberg.
Hello and welcome to ePodibus Unum. I'm Eitan.
And I'm Dan, and you can reach us at epodibus@gmail.com and epodibus on Twitter. Click on the show notes to become a supporter for as little as 99 cents.
99 cents?
That's right.
My God, that's amazing.
I know. Everything we get from the support goes right back into the show, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you kindly.
Yeah.
Also give us your feedback. Let us know what you like, what you don't like. Are we awesome? Are we lame?
Or are we super awesome?
Yes, that too.
On today's podcast, we'll be discussing...
No one likes paying taxes, but fair and progressive taxation is actually a good thing.
But first, Julian Assange's lawyer says that Trump offered to pardon Assange if he covered up Russian hacking of the Democratic Party.
Oh my God, we got to get him out of here, guys. Guys, are you fucking listening to what's happening here? Our president is giving away pardons
to criminals.
For cover-ups.
Yeah, out in the open, because he is now
oh my God.
An open emperor. On that note, William Barr is openly just tampering with the law, bringing us towards full-on despotism. Did I say despotism?
Despotism. Despacito. That's how they do it in Puerto Rico. Despotism.
That's not what Despacito means.
Yeah, I know. It was the biggest song last year. Right?
I know. Can you imagine a huge song on despots?
I know, right?
Yeah. Let's go through this quickly because a lot of this has been covered in the news. Yeah. But just in case you missed it, Barr has forced U.S. attorneys around the country to engage in politically motivated actions, such as the spreading of disinformation campaign using news conferences and social media to harass and terrorize refugees. Barr has also forced several offices to, quote, investigate
the oranges.
Yeah, the origins of that. Barr is openly attempting to block the Southern District of New York from pursuing a criminal case against Turkish bank Halkbank after President Erdogan, another despot, asked Trump to do him a favor and drop the case. Halkbank has evaded sanctions with Iran, and in October, they were charged with fraud, money laundering, and, of course, sanction offenses.
Oh, boy.
Barr interfered in shutting down a case against Deutsche Bank and laundering Russian money for Trump.
Yeah, so I mean, with just a regular bank.
What do the Russians say about that?
What is problem? We want to be friends with the United States, no?
So Trump shut that down, and now he's tampering with the Michael Flynn case, like he did last week with the Roger Stone case.
It's bad.
So essentially, he is making Trump an emperor.
Yeah.
Over 2,500 former attorneys who used to work for the Department of Justice have called on Bill Barr to resign because he is flagrantly breaking the law and abusing his power.
2,500 never Trumpers. Just saying. They're biased against me. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. They're all talking about it.
Donald Ayer, the former Deputy Attorney General for George H.W. Bush, who has known William Barr for over 40 years, published an op-ed in The Atlantic calling on Barr to resign for continuing to put Trump above the law and make him an emperor. He wrote, quote, "It is a banana republic where all are subject to the whims of a dictatorial president and his henchmen. To prevent that, we need a public uprising demanding that Bill Barr resign immediately, or failing that, be impeached."
That guy's a leftist hippie who worked for George Bush. Everybody knows it. Everybody says it.
Right now, what everyone should be most scared about is that taking away the independence of a judiciary is the first major step into despotism. After that, it doesn't matter what the legislature does or what people's opinions are or what the voters decide. Yeah. This is the first major step, past, manipulating the media like we've discussed a lot, but this is the first actionable.
Yeah. And, the main thing it does too is it causes a chilling effect. It creates a big price for doing the right thing.
Absolutely.
Because if you know you're going to be investigated, even if you're not guilty of anything, now you got to hire a lawyer. Mm-hmm. People are going to come after you because Trump's his base,
Henchmen.
his henchmen, his base will come after you.
Yeah.
So it's a huge price for doing the right thing. That's the major thing about this.
Right. That's why all the Repugs wanted the name of the whistleblower during the impeachment. It didn't matter because it was corroborated over and over by
a dozen fucking people.
More than that. Yeah. It didn't matter. They just wanted so they could harass him and retaliate. And that's exactly once Trump was, quote unquote, acquitted by this corrupt Republicans, he's gone on a rampage of retaliation.
Yeah. Yeah. And, that's the reason I've been saying that, the Dems, we have to start our own investigation arm so that we can go after all of these motherfuckers so that when they start this crap, we have a ton of dirt on them. I mean, it's unfortunate. I would rather not be doing it. I would rather watch the government actually work for people.
That'd be nice.
Not billionaires, but just regular working people.
We need someone to fund like a team of private investigators.
To dig up dirt on all these motherfuckers.
There's a whole thing with Kavanaugh also. Somebody paid down like hundreds of thousands of dollars of his debt that nobody will talk about.
Yeah.
There were a few other things which I don't recall off the top of my head, but we'll have that in a
No,
future
that's
episode.
the thing is most of the time what comes out in public is merely the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of under the water type shit. Because, Kavanaugh's in all those right-wing associations and think tanks and all that. And come on. And they're all a bunch of millionaires and billionaires who want their way, want their judge, and will pay for them.
Yeah. And like we talked about before, they don't even have qualified judges. They have to put an ABA, American Bar Association, unqualified judges who are just ideologues.
Well, you know what? Everyone said I wasn't qualified, and I'm doing a great job. Everybody knows it. They say someone came up to me and said, "Sir, you're doing such a good job." I said, "Thank you," and I saluted him.
Was that Stephen Miller at his Nazi wedding?
I am the least anti-Semitic person ever. Everybody knows it. My granddaughter's Jewish.
Did you hear that Stephen Miller's uncle gave his wedding gift?
I was going to send that to you. Did I send it to you?
No, you didn't. But his wedding gift, for those of you who don't know, to Stephen Miller, was to fund a refugee, a legal defense fund, I think?
Yes. For refugees. Amazing.
Yeah.
That guy's a hero.
Yeah.
His nephew is a piece of crap.
Yeah.
I think pretty much his whole family has disowned him or distanced themselves. They don't know where he came from. It's kind of like that movie where she has the devil's baby.
Rosemary's Baby?
Rosemary's Baby. All right.
So anyway, like we were saying before this weird-ass tangent was once you get rid of an independent Justice Department, your freedoms disappear much, much quicker.
Yeah.
I mean, they start going after perceived political enemies, which they're doing now, start shutting down radio and television, broadcasts, podcasts, whoever they consider political enemies.
They're going after all of them because now any investigation that has to do with any opponent of Trump or Trump has to go through the real dirty cop, William Barr.
Yeah. So whoever gets the nomination, the Democratic nomination, we should expect that when that happens, they'll start opening up investigations on whoever it is. It's not just partisans and pundits and political hacks like us. This is real. It's incredibly scary. I know we try to lighten the mood a little bit, but we should all be absolutely terrified about this.
Yeah, this is terrifying.
Yeah. Republicans and former Republicans are even calling it out.
Yeah.
And if you're not terrified right now, you are not paying attention. Things are actually so bad right now that the Federal Judges Association called a meeting last week to discuss what to do about William Barr, and stating that they couldn't wait until April, which is only a month and a half away.
Yeah.
But they couldn't wait that long for their annual meeting because the state of our democracy right now is so dire. What we have to understand, everyone, is that nobody is coming to save us. Not Trump's corrupt judiciary, not Trump's corrupt Republican enablers.
Yep.
There is nobody but us.
Yeah, we're up a river without a paddle.
Yeah. And the only thing that stands in the way of America becoming a full-on banana republic dictatorship is us, is Democrats and progressives.
Yeah, we have to annihilate.
Also known as the American people.
We have to annihilate banana Republicans.
Nice.
I didn't make that up, but we're stealing it and we're using it.
Stealing it. A new report by the Anti-Defamation League Center on Extremism.
Whoa, hold on. Did someone say extreme? My name is Chad Schaefer. I'm an extreme snowboarder. Just saying hi. Love the podcast. First time, long time.
Thank you, Chad.
Yeah, I'll just be back here listening to you guys. Cool.
A new report by the Anti-Defamation League Center on Extremism revealed that efforts to spread white supremacy propaganda more than doubled from 2018 to 2019. White supremacist groups, which can take advantage of the efficiency and anonymity provided by social media to disseminate their hatred, take full advantage of that with little fear of any sort of backlash, which is, it's getting even scarier out there. And of course, they prop up Trump, which explains why he has 40 some odd % approval.
With Klan members? And,
he's got 100% with them.
Oh, you talk like that's my president.
He does. Much of this propaganda is disseminated on college campuses among impressionable youths.
Yeah, the youth.
Many youths.
Because, you go to college, people are like, have an open mind. The problem is with these kids these days, with the youth, bad stuff goes in there, you know what I'm saying? And then next thing you know, you got Nazis.
John Cohen, a former counterterrorism expert, said, quote, "In the past, they were viewed as racist individuals who were on the fringe or outside of mainstream society. Now, their thoughts and ideas and messaging have been incorporated into the mainstream political discourse by a growing number of elected officials."
And, no, but not just that. They're in the White House. They've been in the White House since the beginning. Not just the vampire boy who just got married, but also there are other people within the White House who've worked at various white supremacist organizations.
Yeah. Many of these mass shooters were all white supremacists. They all got their ideas from Trump.
Yep.
Remember, he was quoted in the defense of over 30 murderers and mass shooters.
Yeah. He's the number one president for white supremacists.
So they all got their ideas from Trump, Fox, and others. People like this, they used to have to go into 8chan or Gab.
Yeah.
Remember Gab? Or like parts of the dark web. And now it's just right out there.
Or like someone's home.
Yeah.
In their basement.
Yeah. And school bullying has gone up exponentially. Basically, white kids taunt people of color who they've known their whole lives.
Yeah.
And most importantly, the Department of Homeland Security has said that white supremacy is the number one threat to America. A new study by a group called Take Back the Court has found that Democratic candidates embracing a message of expanding the court has had zero statistical downside. Take Back the Court is part of a budding contingent of several liberal groups, including Demand Justice and Stand Up America, that want Democratic voters to value control of the judiciary as much as Republican voters.
Yeah.
And we'll have a link to them in the show notes also.
Yeah, They definitely leapfrogged us on that one.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Trump went on a spree of sentence commutations and pardons. In case you missed any of this, it's been in the news. He did this without going through the normal channels, which is normally you have the Department of Justice review each case or sometimes present cases that say there should be pardons or commutations, and they rigorously vet them. And Trump just, doing
but
whatever.
This is normal for Trump, is his aberrant behavior.
Well, it's normal for a dictator.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's what he is.
He also called himself the chief law enforcement officer of the nation, which he is not.
Moron.
That is supposed to be the attorney general, but because we have a sycophant attorney general, I don't know. The people whose sentences he's either commuted or pardoned were former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich, who was
tried to sell the Senate seat.
Obama's Senate seat, and several other corruption things. He pardoned Bernie Kerik, who's a close friend of Rudy Giuliani, and he pled guilty to tax fraud and making false statements. Michael Milken is the person that Oliver Stone based Gordon Gekko on in Wall Street, and he pled guilty to racketeering, securities fraud, and insider trading. He's single-handedly responsible for the loss of thousands of jobs. Someone else in the Jack Abramoff scandal. The real kicker here is nearly everyone who received a pardon or commutation was either a frequent guest on Fox Not News,
faux news, for the fake news,
on the fake news network, or was promoted by one of that network's talking heads.
Right.
Others gave money to the Trump re-election campaign or the RNC. So that's how you get a pardon. You have to give money or have one of your puppets on the state-run fascist media.
Pardons are for sale in this country now.
Yeah.
Literally for sale.
The most cynical thing, though, is Trump did commute the sentence of some low-level drug offenders who were caught up in the overzealous Republican-led imprisonment of black and brown people.
That's a cover.
People like Crystal Munoz, who has been supported by advocates of criminal justice reform. And while the result is positive, right? People who were caught up in this racist system deserve to be pardoned.
But there's a hell of a lot more of those people than these rich crooks.
Oh, of course.
That Trump's getting off.
But the point is, he did the right thing for all the wrong reasons, and that is to exploit them for his reelection campaign ads, like the Super Bowl ad he did, and he can now use the pain that the Republicans caused these people.
Exactly.
And Democrats aren't off the hook for this either, but it was definitely Republican-led over these decades, and say that he's now an advocate for poor people of color swept up under the racist prison system. Republican-led racist prison system.
You know what?
Right thing, wrong reasons for that.
You know what? A lot of people are comparing me to Gandhi. I am, a prince among men.
Finally, let's end on some good news here. 15 states plus Washington, D.C. have signed on to the National Popular Vote Compact. This is where states will award their electoral votes for the presidency to the winner of the National Popular Vote.
Yes.
So states can decide how they allocate their electoral votes.
Yeah. That's really, really good news.
For instance, Maine and Nebraska do it proportionally. Everyone else is winner take all. Now, the 15 states that have signed on to the Popular Vote Compact, the National Popular Vote Compact. Last week, the Virginia House of Delegates signed on to the compact, and if the state Senate and governor approve it, that would take the current 196 electoral votes that the compact already has and raise it to 209. Maine also looks like it might be signing on to bring the total to 213 electoral votes. You need 270 electoral votes to win the presidency. So if we keep pushing, then other states like Arizona, Nevada, Minnesota, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and North Carolina might all be poised to join the National Popular Vote Compact by 2024. That would be an additional 78 votes, which would bring it up to a total of 291 total votes, well above the 270 needed. This is a way to abolish the racist electoral college without a constitutional amendment, but we have to keep pushing and make sure that Democrats win state elections, their state legislatures, their governorships, the down ballot races, even city council. This is why these down ballot races are so important among many other reasons.
Absolutely. And listen, guys, you can start with your school board. That's how actually a lot of people start in politics. Just go to the school board, bake some cookies, do what you got to do. Bring some beer if that's legal for the other parents. Yeah. Because they do the voting,
This segment is going to mostly be about why the uber wealthy should be paying their fair share of taxes. Justifier Oliver Wendell Holmes said, "Taxes are the price we pay for living in a civilized society. Taxation brings us together as a nation because we are building toward a common goal. We are funding a common goal. We are building common infrastructure and strengthening our communities. Progressive taxation gives us the freedom to achieve our individual needs and dreams. Progressive taxation is fair because those who have benefited the most from our common wealth should pay the most to sustain it." Franklin Delano Roosevelt also remarked that taxes, after all, are dues that we pay for the privilege of membership in an organized society. First that I think we need to discuss is how the corporate mainstream media tries to manipulate us. 1 in 3 GoFundMe campaigns is just for medical needs.
Yeah, I know.
To pay off medical bills. I mean, again, talk about a banana republic. What kind of country? This is the richest country in the history of the world.
Yes.
And 1 in 3 GoFundMe campaigns is for medical bills. It's for
crazy.
medical bills.
Yeah, I know.
Unbelievable. Now that we're in the heat of the campaign, we talk about Medicare for all and Medicare for all who want it, which is not that great, again, for a different episode. But Medicare for all, or healthcare for all, as it really should be called, would cost us $31 trillion over 10 years. And that's how people like Buttigieg and Biden are trying to scare everybody away from that, and then Republicans, of course, as well. But the way things are now, even with Obamacare, which the Repugs will dismantle at the drop of a hat, and they could, healthcare will cost us $56 trillion over the same period. So that's praying that Obamacare, what we have left of it, remember, they're in court now trying to dismantle all of it.
But hold on. Just want to make something very clear. I will not get rid of pre-existing conditions.
Yes, you will. That's exactly what you will.
You're a never Trumper.
Proudly. That saves the American people $35 trillion, which Dems are not talking about. I don't know why. They are literally saving $35 trillion.
Yeah.
It also covers dental and vision, which private health insurance now does not. You have to buy supplemental insurance for that. The overhead for Medicare is 1/5 of private insurance. We never hear about that in the media. They never, ever talk about that in the corporate mainstream media. One trick that they use is to conflate the actual message with the person. So, for instance, they conflate the Green New Deal with reporting about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And then this then becomes an ad hominem attack instead of a discussion about the actual principles. Economist Dean Baker reminds us that when the media attacks AOC or Elizabeth Warren, who talk about a 70% tax rate at the highest bracket on the wealthiest Americans, that's the number that many of the most prominent tax economists have said is the most efficient for a free and fair society. And these are Nobel Prize winners that come up with this stuff. But you never hear that in the media. They attack AOC and Elizabeth Warren. They try to throw around the term socialist. They make up nonsense about hurting the economy and get into these shadow trickle-down nonsense.
Because they're just really bad at messaging. They're not messaging healthcare the right way. They should point out that every other, Western country has figured out how to do it.
Absolutely.
I just want to say, this country's sick. We went to the moon. We created, I'm pretty sure we created snowboarding. And I think, bro, I know about this. And we can't have healthcare. All these rinky-dink countries have it.
Cuba.
What's the country where they got the waffles?
Belgium.
Yeah. They got socialized healthcare there. You don't have to pay for it. It's part of living in a civilized society over there. That's cool.
Yeah. You know what else, aside from waffles, they created? Well, I don't know if they created waffles, but you know what else, aside from chocolates also?
Yeah.
The Smurfs. The Smurfs are from Belgium.
Whoa.
And Trump is Gargamel. This is why it's always so infuriating to hear something like, MSNBC is the equivalent, is the left equivalent of Fox News. It is not. First off, Fox is a right-wing propaganda machine.
Right. Who lies? They literally will lie.
Right. And spread conspircy
more
theories.
More than just bend the truth. They literally lie to their viewers.
Yeah. And as we said,
spread the conspiracy theories.
Right. And as we said in the news segment before, things like Pizzagate, where you actually have real-world consequences.
Oh, my God, yeah.
And
the
white
guy went in there
supremacists.
shooting to the pizzeria, just in case people forgot about it.
Yeah. He luckily was about to shoot. They stopped him before he shot.
Right. Yeah.
But you also have the Tree of Life Synagogue people and all these other white supremacists all come from there. And that's why we had the segment on how white supremacy is now in the mainstream.
Oh, yeah.
But MSNBC has a more factual basis than Fox, but it is by no means a propaganda network. They still use Republican talking points all the time.
Sure.
Also remember that a 70% tax rate on the wealthiest Americans is far more popular than the Repug Party's tax scam and theft of middle-class taxes to give to their cronies. It's far more popular to tax the wealthiest 1% in the highest bracket at 70%.
Tax the wealthiest 1%.
Yeah.
That's the highest tax bracket. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off on your show.
Also remember, that's not 70% of all their worth. It's 70% of the highest marginal tax bracket.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Paul Krugman notes that the corporate media will often state that tax giveaways to the wealthy that the Repugs claim will pay for themselves are often treated as, quote, serious people. For some reason, for years, everyone thought Paul Ryan was a serious person.
Oh, please.
And I have no idea why. They're like, oh, yeah, he's the brain of the Republican Party. He was not a serious person at all.
Well,
there's nothing serious about him. Every time Repugs want to give taxes away to their cronies, they say, oh, this is being very fiscally responsible.
Oh, please.
No, it's not in the least. Not in the least.
Robert Reich did a great little video that I think everyone should watch. We'll
he does
have
a lot
in the
of
show
them.
notes. But one of them specifically talked about how all these Republicans explode the national debt.
Yeah.
And then try to say, oh, well, we need to be fiscally responsible, so then they can go and cut Social Security and Medicaid, Medicare.
Right.
It's
and
just
remember,
really...
these are our earnings. They're trying to cut the earnings of the American people. These are things that we paid into as a society, and it comes out of our paycheck. We pay into these, and they are our earnings that they are trying to take from us and give to their cronies. Let's also not forget that during the Eisenhower era, our most productive and transformative years,
Yep.
The tax rate was 91% at the top marginal rate. And that's what made us productive. At the World Economic Forum, Michael Dell mocked the idea that billionaires should pay their fair share and said, name a country where that has ever worked. And The Economist,
Oh my God.
well, The Economist, who was sitting on the panel,
Yeah.
you know what he said?
You probably named like 10 of them.
Well, he said the United States.
What?
The United States is a country where that has worked. Another way that the media tries to manipulate us is for some reason they always turn to rich people to talk about taxation. Why? They don't know anything about the economy.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'll tell you what. They should come to me and I'll tell them how much I pay in taxes. It's a lot. I got kids.
So this is a discussion that we need to have because it helps dispel the myth that wealth is quote unquote self-made and that
God. That just pisses me off.
or that trickle down actually works. We need to point out that the Republican Party is disingenuous and the media is too for being complicit with them.
Absolutely. Totally complicit.
Bruce Bartlett, who served as a domestic policy advisor to Ronald Reagan and as a Treasury official under George H.W. Bush, was one of the creators of supply side or trickle down economics. And
Which has never been proven to work, ladies and gentlemen.
never. And he has since had a mea culpa and regrets the damage that he has caused. He's now an ex-Republican and speaks out against trickle down. Dan, you mentioned the starve the beast fallacy, where the idea of Republicans is to explode the debt so that way they can now say, whoa, we can't afford to pay for this. And remember, we're the fiscally responsible party. So now we have to cut America's earnings.
Yeah.
And democratic necessities. And then the media treats them like they're fiscally responsible for some reason, which they are not. I call this frat boy economics.
Dude, you know what? I used to be in a frat.
I bet you were.
It was Phi Beta Attack ya. We were the sickest. We were awesome. No, but seriously, frat boy economics is super important. For instance, right? How many beers, right? Say your budget is $500. How many Schlitz can you buy with that?
I have no idea how much a Schlitz
That's
costs.
frat boy economics right there.
That's pretty much it. It's taking our money and giving it to what is essentially a fraternity party for the 1% and all their cronies.
You're making it sound pretty awesome, though.
So basically what they're doing is they're calling a frat party
Go on.
economically responsible, fiscally responsible. Remember, only Clinton and Obama reduced the deficit, right?
Shocking.
Reagan blew it up.
Yep.
Poppy Bush blew it up.
Mm-hmm.
W blew it up. And
W.
Trump exploded it.
There's a theme here.
Yeah.
These guys are crooks
They are not fiscally responsible.
and liars. No, not at all. And we have to point it out.
Something else that we have to talk about with taxation is deregulation and privatization leads to a less responsible government. It leads to a lessening, a weakening of democracy and democratic norms. That's why they want to do it. They do not believe in America, which is why they do not want to invest in America. Since corporations have a legal obligation to maximize profit for their shareholders, they cannot be trusted with our democracy.
No.
Democracy itself is a moral concept. Ideas like justice and equality are only achievable through funding a moral democracy. And that funding source is taxation,
Yep.
right?
Seems pretty reasonable.
A democratically elected government should not be outsourcing our democracy, which is a moral mission, to private corporations, which is a profit motive mission. We cannot turn our backs on our common morals as a country for private corporations to enrich themselves at the expense of the American people. And that's what it does when you start privatizing and deregulating business. Remember, I said this last week, we're either going to regulate businesses or businesses are going to regulate our democracy. And that's what's
Absolutely.
happening now.
Yeah. They've been regulating us for a long time.
Yeah. Bartlett continues that he thinks we need to be pulled to the left. This is now he's been saying this for a while and it's now become a lot more common because we have allowed the Overton window to shift and then, according to Bartlett, have picked up the pieces of the failed Republican programs to implement what is a center or center-right policies. So because we're playing by different rules, we keep losing. They're saying, well, we're going to explode the debt, and we who are truly the fiscally responsible parties say, holy shit, you guys just blew up the debt. We have to try to reduce it, which means now we have to start figuring out how do we make a combination of raising taxes, cutting the deficit, cutting programs, and we are playing right into their hands, and we're playing by a different set of rules, a losing set of rules.
Right, but this is, I think the most important thing is this is a problem of messaging.
Yeah.
We are not properly messaging.
That's correct.
It's two things. We have to brand them as traitors. You know, they're traitors to our fellow citizens.
That's calling them out for what they are.
Yeah,
you don't
but
have
constantly. It has to be a constant.
Exactly. Unlike them, we don't have to do anything devious or manipulative.
Yeah.
We just have to
It's the truth.
state the truth in plain and simple language, like you always say.
And like when Rush Limbaugh made that comment about Pete Buttigieg
Kissing
his,
his
husband.
Yeah.
And then Trump told Rush Limbaugh that he shouldn't apologize for it. And then Pete Buttigieg said, first he said, Rush Limbaugh, he's going to come at me with all of his marriages.
Yeah.
And then he mentioned Trump and was like, this guy's cheated on every wife he's had.
Yeah.
And then he said, well, in my marriage, at least I didn't have to pay a porn star to hide the fact that he had an affair or something like that. Yeah.
Pay off
So he came at him hard. The audience went crazy. And it's like I've been saying is we have to play harder ball. And Pete Buttigieg actually impressed me, and he did it. He spoke plainly, and he didn't lie. He just told the truth. The problem is there's so much there. There's a treasure trove of just truth that if you really just get it out there and message it constantly, we would win the messaging battle.
That's
we just
an
have to
excellent
do
point.
it. You know?
That's an excellent point, Dan. And Democrats never fail to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory.
Constantly.
It's like, here's an arsenal for you to use. And like, no thanks. We choose not to.
The biggest arsenal, I mean, just in Trump alone.
We'll bring our textbook to this gunfight.
Exactly. I made that one up.
Yeah, I know. I'm using your words.
And it's we constantly do that.
This is also like in 2016, the Democrats didn't want to put up Hillary signs in Michigan because they thought it would offend possible Obama-Trump voters and get them riled up. Like, what fucking world do they live in?
I know. All these idiots are watching Fox and getting riled up over bullshit anyway.
But the problem is that the Democratic establishment, because the Overton window has moved so far to the right, is that what they see as center is actually intrinsically center-right. And they're like, oh, we're centrist. Well, you're not centrist. You're center-right. So what you are is a Republican light. And when you start thinking like that, people are going to say, well, I can have the cheap knockoff of a Republican or a Republican who might be odious, but actually believes the bullshit that he's selling me.
Right.
So I'm going to vote for the person who believes in the bullshit that he's selling me versus the cheap knockoff. And that's why Democrats keep losing. Stop acting like Republicans lights and start acting like fucking Democrats.
Yo, Eitan just went extreme. I thought I was the extreme one, dude.
Answer me this, Dan.
Yeah.
Okay. You go into an office building. Mm-hmm. If you don't have your credentials, right, you have to present photo ID.
Yeah.
Okay. Then you have to get like a temporary ID.
Yeah.
There's a security guard there. There's usually like 2 or 3.
Wow, you're very observant, like a detective.
And then you have to take your temporary ID and put on the, I guess they're not really turnstiles, but you know, like the little security gate thing.
They're turnstiles.
Some are.
I mean,
yeah,
they
don't
don't
turn.
necessarily
They're just
literally
styles.
turn.
Yeah, they're just.
You can't call them just Styles.
Can
That
I
sounds
call him
like
Harry?
A rapper. No.
Harry Styles?
No.
Okay.
I mean, hopefully they're not hairy. That's disgusting.
Okay, Harry Styles is a person.
Bigfoot's coming in the office. He left his hair on the damn Styles again.
Harry Styles was in Dunkirk. Anyway.
Oh, right. Yeah, I heard that.
Anyway, great film. So to get through the not turnstiles, you have to, have your temporary ID scanned.
Yeah.
Then you go up to, whatever floor you're going to, and you're met by a receptionist where you have to check in again, right? Mm-hmm. So then you conduct your business. Now, when you're done, let's say you finish and you have to use the bathroom. Mm-hmm. You go to the bathroom, and now you have to put a code into the door.
Yeah.
Why do you have to do that? Who is coming into these buildings, going past all the security just to use a free urinal? That's what I want to know, that they need a code on the door.
That is a really hard one. I couldn't tell you. Oftentimes, I do find that they don't have a key in them. The last few times I've been in a place with tight security, the bathroom is fine.
Yeah,
And I think just for that reason.
We're going to different buildings.
I guess so.
Yeah. They don't let you into the buildings I'm going into.
Listen, maybe it's some racial shit. I don't know.
No, they answered the question. They're like, who's the person? Dan's the person. That's why we need the code.
No. I go in. There's no code, baby.
That's it for this week. Thank you, everybody.
Yes, thank you.
Remember, Bill Barr must resign. We'll have the link in the show notes to the Department of Justice's main switchboard and comment line. Call your congressperson and call your senator. Also, please consider donating to Stacey Abrams' Fair Fight Initiative or to Take Back the Court or both.
Yeah, super important.
We'll have links to all that in the show.
Yeah.
As always, thank you so much. Thank you so much to our supporters. Please tell your friends.
Yeah, tell your friends. You just do the things.
Do the things. Give us
we will
5
love
stars,
you.
6 stars, all the stars.
Yeah.
Send us some stars.
Yeah.
Put us on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. That would be wonderful.
Yeah, but legally. Don't do anything stupid.
Yeah. Please send us your feedback. And of course, remember to mobilize. Mobilize.
Yes, get the hell out. Goodbye, everybody.
See you next week.